Hello, everybody. My name is Afro DX, and we are talking today about One Piece chapter 1077, titled You Should Have Put It Together Sooner. I would now like to claim that Ichiro Oda is one of, if not the best, murder mystery writers in history. Because, my God, the red herrings in this chapter. There are so many red herrings in this chapter, you would not believe it. All right, let's get started. So we have the title page, One Piece, chapter 1077. You should have put it together sooner. So we have the cover story, Germa 66's Cold Blooded Voyage, Volume 32. Wait a sec, it's all Vegapunk's fault. Caesar and Judge, after going through their memories, are realizing that all of their problems and their arguments and their anger at each other are really Vegapunk's fault. And honestly, Oda's already starting it. The title is a red herring. The cover story is a red herring. um Oda is trying to get Oda in this chapter is trying to get everyone to start picking at random theories as to who the traitor could possibly be. In the notes, Oda says, I met up with all the musicians that worked on the movie again. Man, they really are the best. That's so cool, Oda, especially considering that the movie had so much music in it and that music was kind of its central theme there. All right, so we start off in the Fabrio Stratum in Egghead, and Sentimaru is explaining to all of the villagers and robots, people who, in general, just live on the island and work in Egghead. She's explaining to them that this is why I had to deploy the Pacifista. This is what's going to happen. This is what happened to O'Hara all these years ago, and she's pretty much telling everybody, you got to get off this island or you gonna get blown the F up. So yeah, we get a small flashback of a refresher on the O'Hara incident, stuff that we in general already know. But yeah, Sentinel in general is just like, yeah, they about to like Buster Call times 100 this island. So we go back to control room, fourth floor, building A, which is the middle building if you are paying attention. We still have Luffy and Lucci fighting, Luffy, Lucci, Zoro, and Kaku fighting against the Seraphim. And the Seraphim are really tanking everything that these guys can hit them with. Luffy unleashes the Kong Organ, and Lucci unleashes the handgun Yellow Lotus. So yeah, these are attacks that would take out any normal character. Kaku sends out a Tempest Kick Onslaught, and Zoro just gives no mercy and brings out the One Sword style Death Lion song, which would be pronounced Itorio, Iai, Shi, Son. And after the blows land, we see that even with all these attacks, there is not one scratch on Kuma or not Kuma, on S Bear or S Hawk. So like they're a little dirty, they're a little worse for the wear, but yeah, they're like super durable. And so Luffy's kind of upset, and he's like, they're getting up way too easily. Do they think they're Kaido or something? Cut it out already. So that shows a little bit that Luffy really thought that Kaido was super durable. And this is where Zoro comes in, and he's like, not to mention, they remind me of King, that guy I fought in Wano. And Shaka says something interesting. He said, "A Lunarian on Kaido's crew." Now, yeah, and then Zoro says, "I never caught what his people were called." This is a classic detective moment when somebody says something they shouldn't know, and somebody's like, "I never told you that." So all Zoro said was, "It reminds me of King, a guy I fought in Wano." And Shaka immediately assumes that the guy he fought was a Lunarian. And Zoro never really brought that information to light. Like, Shaka just assumed that the guy he fought was a Lunarian. So Shaka goes, "I see that must have been Albert, the test subject who long ago escaped Punk Hazard with Kaido. The Seraphims owe their toughness to his Lunarian blood." So these Seraphim really they are clones of King. They're clones of King in different shapes. Um, this brings up a couple points, specifically that if Luffy is able to defeat these, that it means that it pretty much this is putting Zoro and Luffy on the same level. Um, we got Trixie Anime Hada up in here. Nice to see you, dude. Um, this would pretty much put Zoro and Luffy on the same level. I do have to say the power scaling between Zoro and Luffy getting real close, because I mean Zoro, he almost died, but he beat a Lunarian on his own, and Luffy is needing help from at least one other awakened Zoan to beat a Lunarian. So I don't know what's gonna happen. We might have some real power scaling here. Uh, Anyways, moving on. So Zoro's like, "In that case, pay attention to the flames on their backs. Their attacks will only be effective when they go out." And he's like, "Sorry, I could have saved us some stamina if I had." He says, "If I'd clocked it sooner." Um, and this is where we get the resolution of the title, which is where Luchikaku and Luffy all yell, "You should have put it together sooner." So that's where we get the resolution of the first red herring, meaning this chapter is not going to reveal who the traitor is. Even though Oda wanted us to think that from the beginning. Uh, so yeah, and that's after Zoro says there wasn't much about King to clue me in. He only had a couple unique features: white hair, brown skin, black wings, and the flames on his back. So pretty much everything that the Seraphim have. Um, and it's interesting that Oda put brown skin instead of their black. Um, I think that's kind of cool. Anyways, so Luffy says, "Hey, Helmet, where you going?" Talking to Shaka. And Shaka says, "I think I know where the Stella's gotten to." So Shaka is walking away from a main group. One of the key things in this chapter is there's so many people that are not in the main group, and we're trying to keep track of them. Shaka is walking away from a main group. So for a while here, especially because of watching Redline Review, I've agreed with Liam and thought that Shaka uh was the traitor. And I'm pretty sure about that. Uh so Zoro's like, "Follow me, we're in a bit of a rush." Then we move on to the third floor building A. So one floor down, and Nami is now fighting S Shark. Um and Brooke got ambushed and got completely decapitated, which is kind of freaky to see. Edison got trashed. So Nami, using Zeus, is fighting against S Shark, and um, she hates that she has to injure something that looks like Jinbei, but knows it has to be done, and sends a gigantic thunderbolt directly through him. Um, I like when this happens. I enjoy the when this happens. Because back in the Whole Cake Island arc, Nami was the first person to get a definitive strong hit on Big Mom. When Zeus hit her um with the lightning bolt. That was the first big hit on Big Mom, and I like what Oda does sometimes, which is he makes the monster trio, or at least the top two, Zoro and Luffy, struggle against an enemy, and then gives Nami a moment to shine where Nami just easily one shot something. And of course, she doesn't like fully one shot S Shark here, but I just love the panel of watching smoke come out of his mouth. Um, and I'm sure like electrical systems are being disrupted and stuff like that. And so he falls over and uh, splashes into the ground, which means his devil fruit ability is still active. And Brooks says splash. And so Eshark dives down again and jumps up and is about to attack Nami. Brook tries to come in when he notices that Sanji is coming, and Sanji hits Eshark extremely hard with a rare fillet strike. Um, so Sanji comes in, starts to help Nami. So uh saves Nami, and he's like, I don't care if you're a kid or Jinbei, I'll be your judge, jury, and executioner. And then calls him Jim Brat, which I think is very, very cool. Um so we go to the third floor of building C. So the way they're set up is um so how we're looking at it is they're set up as C, A, and B. And so if you just remember cab, you'll remember what order the buildings are in. So this is where York has been petrified. We go over to Lilith, Usopp, and Frankie, uh, and now petrified York and head Pythagoras. And Lilith uses a bubble gun. And so when it hits, this is S Snake. When it hits S Snake, um, she deactivates for a moment. And Lilith explains that the bubbles were designed to harness the ocean's energy, and the green blood gives you the pros and cons of having a fruit ability. They're your weak point, which does mean here that bubble guns are an effective defense against um, devil fruit users. So now that we know that, that's good to know that bubble guns can be used against devil fruit users because they're pretty much sea prism bubbles. Um, so that is good to know. S Snake easily gets back up before they can catch her and hard kicks Frankie, which seeing Frankie get hard kicked just gives testament to how strong these things are. Um, Lilith says he only grazed her, and so S Snake unleashes explosion, and Frankie comes up behind her and crushes her with the bubble, um, which keeps her locked down. And so S Snake kind of tries to appeals to his emotions, and says this is agonizing. And Frankie takes the bubble off her and gets hit with perfume femur, and starts to petrify, which is interesting because it does show that Frankie does have human parts that can still be petrified. Um, so Lilith shoots the bubble gun, which again, which S Snake dodges and then winks at them, and um, it kind of charms both Lilith and Usopp, and because of that, they are both turned to stone. So what's interesting is S Snake's powers really go beyond just being able to turn people into stone. And I think this is a great example of there was a bit of controversy in a couple of chapters earlier. Well, actually, probably about 5 to 10 chapters back now. But because we were always told that you had to be in love with the user of the Mero Mero fruit in order to be turned into stone. That doesn't seem to be the case. It actually looks like S Snake can charm her opponents. So just like in D&D, she can kind of use charm person, and that will overcome their emotions. Um, so we flash over to underneath Tower A in the underground Old Devil Fruit Research Lab. So this is pretty much in the cover story where you've been seeing Queen, Caesar, and Judge working on devil fruits. This is where this is all happening. So Shaka goes down there, sees all of the Cypher Paul agents and Stella, and says, "You're those Cypher Paul agents? I thought you had come and gone ages ago. Why are you here?" And so Stella says, "Shaka, who's that you brought with you?" And we see a gun going click, and Shaka gets shot directly through the head, um, which is absolutely devastating. So this would honestly be the moment when a sign would scroll across the screen that says Shaka was not the imposter. So Grand Line Review's theory and my theory are kind of out the window. Shaka is not, repeat, not the traitor. Um, so Vegapunk yells out, "Shaka!" And no one can really see who shot Shaka. But they do hear what is it? Footsteps. And that is the end of the chapter with Vegapunk kind of just looking on in horror. So I'm gonna go through the sponsors really quick, and then I'm gonna get to my theories, including I have a brand new theory that is pretty much airtight as to who the traitor is, and you're gonna be shocked. All right. So for anyone who is just starting to watch or is watching in the rewind, the AfroX channel does have a Patreon, and you can check that out at www.patreon.com/AfroX. There you'll be able to donate to the channel in increments of $5, $10, $30, $50, or $100 a month. I want to give a shout out to our patrons already. Um, uh, um, our $5 a month patron, which is Victor Mills, and our $10 a month patron, which is Calvin C., and our $50 a month patron, who is right here in this chat right now, Trix the Anime Hater. Thank you to all of those people for the generous donations to the Afro X channel. Now, we also have a TikTok that you can check out that I do content on. That is AfroX_YT on TikTok. We have a Facebook page. AfroX is the official page. We also have the AfroX official fan club, a group on Facebook. And if you join that, you'll be added to a group chat where you'll be able to be notified if I ever take a break or go off my regular schedule. Pretty much all of the external links and stuff are in the description of every one of my edited videos, not the live streams, but the edited videos. There's also a link there where you can go to www.teespring.com/store /Afro-X-2. That's right. And you can, for $30, you can buy the Afro X official t-shirt. Has the Afro X logo on the front, Afro X slogan on the back, which is, say it with me, stay legendary. So yeah. That is all the sponsors for today, I believe. All right, moving forward, let's take a look at the chat. Trick says, annoying that no one is suspicious of her yet. It's interesting you say she when talking about Shaka. I always thought that Shaka was a man, or a male character. I never got the feeling that Shaka was a female. But who knows? But yeah. And I mean, both Grand Line Review and myself were kind of suspicious of Shaka at first. Oh, you meant to say male for him. Okay. I wanted to bring up this point also. Zeus being there means a good chance Big Mom is coming back. That is a very good point. The thing with Zeus is interesting because Zeus is technically an extension of Big Mom's soul. And we need to ask a couple questions relating to Big Mom. If Big Mom has in fact died, it would mean that all of her homies have also gone. That would mean that Hera is gone, Prometheus is gone, and Napoleon is gone, as well as the entire Enchanted Forest on Whole Cake Island. And I really think that if whole Enchanted Forest just disappeared on Whole Cake Island, that would be somewhat of a concern, and we would have seen it in the cover page. Zeus still being alive does make a point for Big Mom being alive. There is the although Big Mom did like disown Zeus or like detach him from herself at one point, and so it makes me wonder if Zeus has kind of gotten a life of his own, has become his own entity, and that is interesting. But yes, there is also a chance that Big Mom is not actually dead, and her devil fruit has not actually deactivated as of yet. So Trick says Shaka was shot. Finally, with what he was doing, I'm surprised that Lucci didn't get to him. Oh, that Lucci didn't figure it out. I mean, that kind of makes some sense. I don't think Lucci was really ever thinking that uh Shaka would like betray the Vegapunks or stuff like that. So I mean, I don't know, Trix. It kind of sounds like you're kind of happy that Shaka got shot, which is kind of messed up because I really liked Shaka. But anyways, um, also technically we can take all of her homies, remove her souls, and put them in another body to come back herself. To be honest, I didn't consider that because all of the homies are part of Big Mom's soul. Big Mom's soul still exists in the world, and so it could be put into another body. But then that would honestly be the revive fruit that Brooke has. For the Lucci comment, it's just I was expecting to be going around taking out people. Yeah, Lucci honestly is the kind of guy who would go around taking out people. I am gonna get to that in a second because that is an interesting point. So things we need to keep in mind. A, the order of the chain of command when it comes to the Seraphim. Because the only people that could have commanded the Seraphim to begin attacking again would have been anyone from CB0, St. J. Garcia Saturn, Sentamaru, or any of the satellites. I think this. I don't think any of the satellites are the traitor anymore. But there is one thing that we are forgetting, which is that the Seraphim can't really differentiate between which side any members are on. And if you remember, who walked in with Lucci and Kaku? Stussy. According to the Seraphim, or seen through the Seraphim's eyes, Stussy is still technically a part of CP0. Now, Stussy also was originally against Kaku and Lucci, and she knocked them out, but they still had to be killed for what was it for failing their mission to the world government. So she had a vendetta against CP0. She could have made she could have ordered the Seraphim to attack CP0 once again. Now, that is a kind of flimsy theory. Here's where it gets a little bit more airtight. Oda has been specifically showing us different groups of people, and in the different groups of people, the group that Stussy was with was Sanji and Jinbei. Now, it's kind of interesting that we would have a chapter where something that looks like Jinbei is getting attacked to the point of it like not being able to function, and Sanji shows up to save Nami, which means Stussy is now alone by herself during the murder of Shaka, which means that she has opportunity. She also has motive. And if she is still working for the world government, she has motive to not only get rid of CP0, but also get rid of Dr. Vegapunk and the satellites. So, opportunity, motive, and honestly, Stussy is definitely the kind of person that, if we're looking at the personalities of people, she's the type of person that does not take chances and would definitely headshot, because it was a headshot. She would headshot someone she was trying to take out, because she is an expert assassin. So, there are three main points right there to why I think that Stussy is a double agent and is actually not loyal to Vegapunk, but is still loyal to the world government. And that would explain pretty much everything. Um, I'm so happy I'd say that throwing the stakes of the situation, everyone is in. Yes. Drake says, I agree with what you say about Stussy. Yes. So yes, there it is. My theory on who the traitor is that it is Stussy. And we do in fact know that Stussy does carry a one barrel pistol like that, because we have seen her carry it before. Um so yeah. And Stussy would be smart enough to shoot Shaka and then walk away and have it be from an angle that was just far enough away that no one would be able to see where she was. Although the only flaw in that theory is that Dr. Vegapunk says, "Who is that with you?" Um and Dr. Vegapunk, or Stella, more so, Stella Punk, um I don't remember precisely, but Stella Punk um doesn't know that Stussy has switched sides. So although Stella Punk would have known what the original Miss Buckingham Stussy looked like. And that is the only flaw, is that Vegapunk would know who Stussy was. And in that case, he wouldn't have said, "Who is that you've brought with you?" as if he didn't know who that was. So very high, I'd say probably 85 to 95% chance that it is Stussy and she's a double agent. But that 5 to 15% chance is that Stella would have known who Stussy was. Um, but yeah, F in the chat for Shaka. Shaka was great. Loved him as a character. Definitely my favorite of the satellites. And really gonna miss him, man. Hope he gets rebuilt someday. That'd be great. But yeah, that is all for One Piece Chapter 1077. And we will be back next week with One Piece Chapter 1078. So stay tuned for the next piece of One Piece.